A very good evening to everybody that is listening to us. I bring you greetings from the Destiny Arena of the Maker's House, Chapel International. I believe that last week was explosive. You learned a lot. But this week, today, your life is also going to be challenged in ways untold. I have a beautiful couple that I've known even before they started coupling. And I believe that it's going to be an awesome time in His presence. We're going to share how they started, their struggles, their successes, and even their spirituality, what had influenced what they have done all this while. So stay with us, even as we come back and I introduce my guest to you after the break.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and the Bible says He shall direct your path. If you really spend time with God, you will have a relationship with God, and that will help you, because you see, if you don't have time, if you don't have relationship with God, that will be the time that anybody at all can just throw anything at you, and you think that it makes theological sense. Because if you really know God, He said the Spirit of God shall guide you into all truth. In all your doings, make sure that your relationship with God is intact, because this too shall pass, and those that know their God will do exploit afterwards. David said, for in the time of trouble, God has the ability to hide us. That He hides me in His pavilion. God had never abandoned His people before. He won't start with us. He saved His people from plagues. When there was darkness in Egypt, there was light in Goshen.
Today I have with me Mr. and Mrs. Ayaba, Bride and Burial. They are the founders of Echo House. Years ago, or centuries ago, if you've ever read the Greek mythology, you will understand that the word echo is from the Greek word ikos, which was the name of a woman who was a nymph or an Oread who was living in Mount Cithaeron. And she lived there, and Zeus oftentimes will visit beautiful nymphs like Ikos and consort with them. When the wife of Zeus, Hera, found out, became suspicious of what Zeus was doing, Hera came down on from Mount Olympus and cursed the woman called Iko. Or Ikos was cursed, and the curse that rested on her life was that she couldn't speak but only repeat the last words that anybody would say to her. So echo is just a reverberating sound, a sound that claps back at you. It's only used in animals like bats, dolphins, whales. They use echolocation, and it's just a sound back. I'm going to find out from them what really influenced not a direct talk but an echo, and that what echoed in their hearts or in their spirit for them to build a house that only echoes, and what they went through when they started. Bride and Burial, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so, how is coupling? How is marriage?
It's amazing, I think. Yeah. With a new boy, in the house, so it's much more exciting even now. Yeah, and then somehow we are home most of the time now, so we get to spend time with him, time together and all that. So it's been amazing.
Yeah. Time together is very important, especially because you are building business together.
Yeah, together.
And So how do you plan? With a baby?
Before this situation, what we'll do in the morning is, so we have a nanny who helps. So in the morning she comes and she gets him ready. She takes him to my mom, and then we go to work. And then when we are leaving the office, we call that they can also come and meet us. So we meet at home, yes. So it's very, I think on Sundays we're alone with him, so we figure Sunday out, but the rest of the week we have support.
Amazing. So how did Echo House, how did you meet yourself? You found love working, or you found work loving? I mean, how did you come together, and how did the whole Echo House start?
I mean, we read civil engineering in KNUST. So I had always been a writer, and I said I wanted to start at that time we were calling it a newsletter. And we said we wanted to tell the story of KNUST to the outside world. And so the Echo magazine. And then at that time, I was, Bright and I were dating. So I think the thing was, I was spending so much time with this business. I mean, initially you just say things like, you're always going out with this thing, what is it? And then it's like, well, if he's going to spend time with me, then he might as well join it, you know. And then he came and then, you know, took things to the next level.
It's amazing. I've known you, I think I knew you when you were in KNUST. When you were quite young. And I remember Bright will come to my house and they will stay with Wapi. It's amazing. Engineers, civil engineers. And you abandoned civil, you didn't like steel and structures anymore?
Not that we didn't like it, it wasn't so exciting as what we're doing now.
So you think you would have chosen another course if you were going back to school?
We had to finish it. You know how it is, you don't start and stop, you finish it and you get onto another thing. So I think basically that's how, sometimes we do believe that we even veered into this because of the course we did. It wasn't a wrong choice basically. Fantastic. It was something that basically led us here because we met Wapi in the class who made us meet, and then because
so Wapi was there.
He was the initiator.
Wow.
I mean, I remember we the very first day in the class, as civil engineering, so we had, I think, about 200 boys and just about 25 girls in the class. So then me and my friends, Wapi and Ohene, we decided to get to know the girls in the class. So we sent a sheet around, all the ladies write your name and let's get to know you. It got to her turn, she said, no, she's not writing her name. And then we started probing further. We later found out we were in the same hall. Then we started walking to lectures in and out and stuff like that. And then basically we got to know each other. We liked each other's personality, and then we did this. So doing engineering, basically along the line, we started this. And then the more we did it, the more requests that came, you know. So we started a magazine, and then I was telling someone, so then the magazine was featuring all events that basically happened on campus. And then when events were dragging, it means we had to wait for events to come before we publish. So we then decided, okay, then let's do our own events, because gradually we've been able to build some influence so that the events pictures go into the magazine and we can be on time. Wow. So we started that and all that. And then brands saw us do events on campus. They also asked, oh, can you do same for me on campus? Because we've been trying to enter campus and it's not been easy. And then we started that and it grew into this. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a very organic
growth. Yeah, it's been.
It wasn't influenced by external factors, like you didn't get, say, politicians coming in to tell you, no, we want to use your avenue, we want to use your media. You didn't get the school saying, want you to push us into the limelight. You didn't get any external influence.
I think Bright says something all the time about the way that usually where you get support is people who have no idea who you are. So a lot of what we're doing was more, a lot of people are relating to us like kids, like in Kolawe,
but you were young then.
You know? So there was a lot of you are so noisy, can you give me that same effect? I think the very first brand that gave us this opportunity was Vodafone. I mean, we had never done something of that magnitude, and they just said, manage our social media, manage our digital for us. You know, this is about 5 years ago, until now we're still managing their social media.
Kudos to Vodafone then. They believe in the in the young entrepreneur.
Yeah, they did.
But over the years, what would you say had been the driving force for Echo House since you got out of school? And I believe you, after you say your national service, which I don't know whether you did it for others or you did it with Echo House.
No, we did it for Urban Roots.
Wapi was also at Ghana Highways, right?
You all
went together. Okay. And so after national service, You just went straight into your own thing.
Yes.
So basically, we're doing it all through. So when we got the smallest chance, we then would do it. When we're in school and then we're doing this, requests came from other campuses. So we're doing for KNEST, requests came from Legon by guys like Julio, Kofi, UCC, Humphrey, and the others came through that they wanted to start same on their campuses. So they started it. So they started on their campuses. So whilst we were doing national service, in the evenings, we go on the campuses, we meet them, we basically will spend then it was 202 cedis for allowance, national service allowance. We will spend it printing T-shirts for the teams and stuff like that. So then gradually, as we're about finishing national service, the activities became a lot. You know, there's a request for a meeting with MTN, a request for a meeting with Vodafone all the time. So then basically we had no time to go get jobs. So then we said, okay, let's make this work. We'll sacrifice the time. At least let's give ourselves 2 years. If it doesn't work, we go back into the workforce. If it works, you know, we move on. Even alongside, we're still even doing courses. We went to do diploma in oil and gas. Then it was the boom. So naturally, our parents got us into oil and gas school. We did that. We got a diploma. And then we're still doing this. I mean, we even had to go for certain interviews because we had been requested to go for interviews for certain roles in some companies. We went all right. Some of them gave calls and all that. We said, you know what, give us a month, give us 2 months. And then this thing started picking up. So we said, let's just keep doing this. So we didn't even have an office. So we call in the morning. Is there something up in town today? Where should we go? Should we go and sit at the mall and plan the next thing? Yeah. You know, something like that. And then it basically go into what it is now.
Yeah. Who said he had a small space at Osu. It's like a really tiny space. He said he could give us that space for.
Yeah, the sports journalist.
Yes.
You know, he would give
God
us
bless
a space.
his soul.
Yeah.
He said he could give us a space for, like, you know, almost nothing. And so at that time, my mom took our old furniture at home and she refurbished it, made it pink, and then came to set the place up and bought our first printer and computer.
PC, yeah. Your mom did that?
She didn't understand it. She always said, like, you know, but well, if that's what you're going to spend your time to do, you know, let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, I think what is important, and just as they have shared, the few lessons I've picked, even in their introductory remarks, will be the passion coupled with sacrifice. You can't commit to something and not want to sacrifice to see it grow. Having your 202 Ghana cedis printed T-shirts with them, those are all sacrifices, because anything you gain is at the expense of another thing. You gain the T-shirt, you lost luxury or comfort. So those are some of the things. But what would you say had been some of the challenges or the struggles
I think
of Echo House?
Money initially, I think at every point in time the challenges were different. In the very beginning there was a challenge with money. I mean, capital to kick off sometimes.
There was a time that we were going to print the magazine and we went to Type Ghana Limited, and they said they gave us a price. We didn't have the amount. I mean, you needed to print 1,000 copies. We didn't have how much, you know, we needed to print it. So we said, okay, they should print a certain amount and then we'll sell and come for the rest. And we're saying, well, what if we disappear? So, even the simple thing was that they were asking us for a template, some kind of a, what's that thing
You
called?
do a dummy print.
A dummy print, you know.
To give them to show the arrangement of pages and all that.
Yeah, we didn't have the money for it. So we went to the printer and then they said, I think it was 200 cedis or something. Yeah. So he left his phone.
How long ago was that?
This will be about 2008.
Yeah.
Yes.
2008, about 12 years ago.
Yes.
That was the time we were doing the migration from the old CD
to
the new.
Around
so
that
then,
time.
Okay, that time 2 million.
So you needed 2 million in 2000.
Yeah.
And you had to leave your phone.
Yeah.
So he left the phone and they did the print and he came back for it. So we didn't have the money. So the point was to print the actual magazines.
We sell, we get the money,
and go and collect the phone back.
What would you say? Do you need, and I normally ask any young entrepreneur that I meet, which of them will you rate highly? Idea or the resource?
I think the idea.
The idea sells, I think. Okay. What I've realized over the years, the initial stages is where you actually need capital and all that. But along the line is the ideas that take you wherever you go. You know, people can hear your ideas and just give you a contract. Or
so
give
you can tell a youth or a young man or a young woman listening to us, that if you don't have money and you have an idea, just keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
Yes.
It's highly possible. And if you look at certain things, right, as you go along the way, you don't, like she mentioned, we met Yaon Pofakra Ankara, who gave us an office. We met a Kenyan company that showed us the ropes.
Yeah.
You actually meet people when you have great ideas who will assist. And usually these are not people you may even know personally.
Yeah.
These are strangers who just meet you and love your idea and then support you in everything you do. A lot of the contracts we've gotten are from people we've never met before. They just listen to us. They love the idea. So you know what? I'm funding this for it to happen, and it's been.
But I think one of the things that helped you, will be your personality. If you don't have a likable personality, you meet people and they want to run away from you. It will be like you're a masquerade. So your personality too is quite good. You are warm people, and I think that has also helped immensely. It's contributed to where you are. And so money was the main challenge when you started.
At that point, big challenge.
When you started.
Yeah.
But if you ask us now, that may not be the challenge. It's not
no,
the
that was
challenge.
2008. That's 12 years ago. No, now you are big people. Like,
No, I just mean we have other problems now.
All right. So we'll get into the other problems. But apart from money, of course, if you start any business, and I've seen that with a lot of young entrepreneurs, and it happens across the spectrum, whether it's a church that the person has started, an oil company, a print house, an events company, whatever company you start, you'll get people falling off.
Yes.
And so the human capital that will come around, you will find rebels in your camp. You'll find. How did you manage to, as young people, bring people around you, let them work with you, and some of them will not starve, they will cut, because a starve is just one point, but a cut might be from your neck level to your spine. And so you get cuts, bruises, and all of that, and you have to keep pushing because you are the one God gave the vision to. And I believe that every vision that is great was given by God. We'll get into the spirituality of it. But how did you manage to handle hungry people? When I say hungry, I'm not talking about physical hunger. Every youth is also, they have the appetite to succeed as well. And not everybody thinks that, okay, I have to work with somebody, I have to work under somebody. Maybe if I'm working with you or working under you, it is just my transit moment and I'm trying to find my way. How did you manage yourselves throughout
I think it's the biggest challenge.
We are two completely different people when it comes to that. And I think I'm always saying that if it wasn't for him, I don't know how I would have navigated this, because I am extremely emotional and I get very involved.
He's not?
People. No,
Stone cold?
Yeah, so
I know
the
how
thing
to
is, what I realize is that it's not that he's not feeling it. It's just that
I mask it well.
Not talk about it, Because something can happen and I'm just like, oh my God, this is the end and stuff like that. And then he's like, calm down. He's even laughing, and stuff like that. I'm always saying that actually, when I'm, this is me venting. When I'm done venting, I'm done. But Bright is like, we shall see.
He will not vent, but he starts strategizing, putting things where they ought to be.
So in that space, we are very different. But I think I've learned the strength that comes with. He's always telling me, we cannot expect everybody to be like. If I'm expecting everybody will come along and always see that end goal, it's not possible.
It's not possible.
And I think it's been super, super difficult. That's
it's one of the biggest
challenges.
things.
That's like maybe apart from the money conversation, that's like the biggest.
The people thing.
It's heartbreaks, a lot of heartbreaks along the line. We are so close to the people we work with. We are all same age and all that.
Businesses.
We go to their homes, they come to our homes, we hang out.
It was like a close family.
Yes, that's how it is. And then even there was a point that even we're not on the team from campus, they won't allow you to even come and work in the office. You are not part of it.
The first time we did recruitment outside the campus team, there was a meeting that was organized by the office team.
That why you bring in external people
coming in and stuff like that.
So that's how close we were, close-knit family, But along the line, it's understandable. If you look at research all around the world, the new young crop of people, they don't stay anywhere too long. 3 years, 2 years, 4 years max, they are moving on, you know, and it's a heartbreak. You feel it in your heart, you know, your closest friend, and he's gone off, you know, probably doing the same thing you do, you know, but you need to understand that as the norm. You can't keep everybody around, you know, for so long. And gradually we are getting used to it. Even as of now, we still get heartbreaks when it happens. People that we've been with for 4 years, 5 years, and then one day
Sometimes
they wake up and they say,
you know, that kind of thing.
Wow.
And I think he had to tell me, stop trying to defend yourself all the time. You know, I mean, if just allow everything to work out, you know, in the end, all things work together for good.
Because one thing I've seen is a lot of times people don't see everything like you do. You're probably at the top, you are seeing these numbers are like this, we need to chase this to be able to balance it. The person feels you're giving too much pressure, they can't stand it, you know, and all that. You need to understand that they can't see, so it's fine, you know, and we live with it. It's a daily thing. Yeah.
It's difficult
Yeah.
because there is a very thin line.
Yep.
I mean, when you keep spending time with somebody, you develop affections, all those emotions come into being. So when somebody you think, okay, we are going together,
Yes.
turns out you. I had a meeting, there was a time I was with Bishop Jakes.
Okay.
And just being around him, he passed the comment that it's been years, but it's never left me. He said to me that if you really want to go far, never be afraid of hiring and firing people, because a lot of people will not be there for the long haul. And so you'll get people who will come around, and I think sometimes the best thing we can do when we have encounters with people is that when they come to us and they say they are going, we should just wish them well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just let them go, because you can never force the heart of a man to be in a place where the body doesn't want to be.
Yeah.
And oftentimes God will use some of these things to create avenues for us. We are about to take a break, and so I allow you to catch your breath, and we get into deeper things,
Alright.
coupling stuff, and how they've had successes. And so stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to another edition of Wednesday. If you've not shared our video, share it with friends and family. Let us know where you are watching us from. And if you have any questions, you can as well send them through, especially if you have questions about how young people can start a business. At a point, Bright had to leave the phone. I was going to say trade his phone, but he had to leave the phone so that work could be done and then they've sojourned through the narrower paths and corridors of life. It wasn't easy, but now they have been able to do quite well for themselves. Of course, they are a couple, they have a child, they have many more to come. I believe that. And now we are going to try to see how they are going to juggle work and family and all of that. But apart from the challenge of, say, finances and the challenge of the heartbreaks, because the heartbreaks are everywhere. It's not going to stop. It's never going to stop. What I mean is that you need to brace up.
No.
Because interestingly, the higher you go, the deeper the wounds. The deeper the wounds. Because there are people you handpick and elevate. And they are the ones that will stop. It's everywhere. Politicians cry the same. After the same thing, pastors, you should listen to some pastors talk about how they have been stabbed, and I think you start having a party. You have no problems at all. And so but apart from those things, what will you say will be other challenges that, say, young entrepreneurs should expect? The heartbreaks, they should expect heartbreaks. The initial capital outlay, everybody, I think that runs across. That everybody who starts a business, initially the financial capacity, what you need, the startup capital will always be, I mean, that's why we ask how much of your blood is in it. If you have family, friends, and relatives you can rely on, investments or savings you can pull from, those are fine. But quite apart from that, what would you say?
I think there's a thing around things evolve too fast. Constant innovation is very necessary. It's a big challenge. I mean, in the period we are in now is one of the biggest challenges we are facing.
Sorry. Hold your thought. Somebody is watching, and I want them to situate this in context. Because of the kind of work you do, that's why things evolve so fast. You are in the tech, entertainment, that space, and in that area, evolution is quite intense. Not like, say, architecture, that you can have designs and plans and outlays that will run through. Yours is quite different. So what do you do as Echo House?
So basically, we are a 360 marketing agency. We started as a magazine, and then we got to this point. So at every point in time, we looked at the needs of the clients, the needs of the consumers we were serving, and then we basically expanded according to that. So from the magazine, we realized that there was a point print was no longer in use. Even newspapers and foreign magazines were suffering. So we transformed the magazine into an online portal, which is Cool Peeps now. Then when we started doing a lot of events and hyping it online, a lot of brands said the way you're loud on social media, it means you can make my brand as loud. So we had a lot of brands also come to us basically to manage their communities for them. So currently we manage, I think, for a lot of the multinationals, ranging from Diageo to Vodafone to Access Bank and a lot of brands like that. Then the events turned into activations, so a lot of brand activations, which comes through mall activations, experientials, road shows, home seeding activities. A lot of, getting the products and brands to consumers, getting them to experience, all their senses. So that's basically what we do. So it requires a lot of, innovation, a lot of thinking, because things move out of space very fast. Something like the magazine, we could have continued printing the magazine till now, and it will be making losses. That's and would have collapsed. So the point that you need to know that you need to transform into an online platform, for instance, is very important. When that also ends, how do you know, things must change? In the current situation, experientials are almost impossible with the COVID-19, basically. So
in 1 week, because almost about 6-7 brands just saying, halt.
We are holding off.
We had been planning this for maybe, let's say, 2 months, and then there's just, and then those teams are basically not active.
So now we need to innovate to the next level. What next?
What can you do?
That's always the thing. Things you don't expect come up. So that's one of the biggest challenges. If you are not innovating, you basically are dying, and it's a thing.
You either innovate
or you die. You leave the game. It's a constant drive.
When we started, I think what was happening was because we were kids. Most other agencies are going to feel like, they'll die soon, And so just the way we came up, we understand that the moment we get so comfortable and say we've arrived and, and all that, somebody else will, come up. So yesterday we were having a conversation. There's a new social media app that, I mean, now I think we feel a bit old sometimes. I feel like TikTok. What is TikTok? You know, but everybody's using it.
People are talking about what is that?
There's a new app that you can act through somebody's voice. So you're preaching, I could actually pick the audio of it and act it out and
so
post
you
it
could, yeah,
online.
you could go there and go and realize that people have cut out your voice, you know, and then they're acting it out.
Yeah. And it has, I think, about 2 billion downloads now. You know, it's growing.
TikTok.
Yeah. It could be the next Instagram. So if you're not looking at that,
so I should be TikToking then.
Exactly.
Soon. That's the innovation thing. And it gets hard. It gets the point you're like,
sometimes
no.
I think, why? What is this one too? You know. But the thing is, the time you spend doing that, you know, somebody else may also take advantage, because the brands are wondering if people have moved there, we want to activate there, you know, and so you need to quickly go and start doing something before, you know. So it's a very, just when you're getting comfortable,
the next thing comes.
It's a new something to move.
So you never rest.
Never.
No.
There is a German proverb that says, if you rest, you rust.
Okay.
So in business, you have to also be thinking like that.
Yeah.
If you become restful,
Yeah.
you become rusty.
Rusty.
And when you are rusty, nobody wants to touch you.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to touch you.
Yeah.
So you have been quite successful. I know that you have bigger dreams and aspirations and a lot of big ones.
Yes.
And so, but what have been the success story of Echo House?
I think
What have you been able to achieve so far?
I think for me, one of the most exciting things is the team we have managed to build. Today we have a permanent staff of 80 people.
80.
Yes.
80.
Yes. So
You've employed 80 people. You still pay them COVID-19.
Yes.
You are still paying them.
Yeah.
You are paying SNIT.
everything.
Insurance.
Paying
Health
all
insurance,
that,
everything.
everything. Health, private, what's it called? Private health.
And you are paying
insurance,
tax.
Yes.
Everything.
COVID-19.
Yeah.
No breaks. No right sizing. No undercutting.
So,
Hi.
I think that
80.
That and most of these guys they joined us direct from campus, so you sort of have to train them, you know, even in terms of things like how to send emails.
You have to train them to send like
everything,
and still pay somebody you are trained to send.
Yeah, and so that's what Bite keeps saying. You know what happens? You train somebody, because someone comes, they don't know much yet. You train them. When they start to become, you know, strong enough, they say,
They break your
I'm
heart.
out. You're like, okay,
So
you
tough.
take
It
another
becomes a
person,
cycle.
and you start the cycle again. But yeah,
You have 80 people on your payroll.
Daily, every month.
yeah,
80.
Every month.
yeah.
It's not easy.
No. I'm beginning to respect you more. You know, 80 people on your payroll.
Yeah.
Echo House. 80 people.
2 office buildings actually, because we couldn't fit in one. So we had
I've been to one of your office
buildings.
That's the second one.
That was the second one.
That's
When
the
I
main
came to
space.
pray
Yeah.
there for you. 2 office buildings, 80 employees, COVID no break.
Yeah,
You know, businesses have started paying half
yeah,
the salary they give to employees.
Yeah.
Some are telling their employees that they are going to pay them for the next 3 months. They have to dive.
yeah.
And so doing that is quite impressive. I am super excited.
We're just
But what do you
hoping and praying we don't get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
All that is going
the way,
on,
The way
like,
you started, you won't get there. I think you'll be fine. I think so. So you have 80 people. It's a success story.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
thinking about leaving your phone for print,
yes,
leaving your phone for print,
yes.
and now putting food on the table of 80 families. I'm not looking at people because they are families in themselves.
Yeah.
So feeding or paying the bills of 80, paying 80 people, and that's just one thing.
Yeah.
You've done works for Vodafone.
Everybody.
What are some of the key events? Because I think on your wedding, I was the one who officiated.
Yes.
And we did it on a pool. They put a glass, and I walked on water. I said, Jesus was mighty. Because I walked on water, and I was super excited walking on water.
Yeah.
Because you did the glass
Bite
thing.
wanted brands, it's like everything is like an opportunity to show.
No,
we
what
can do
you
this for
guys
you.
did was amazing. So I was walking on the water, going to officiate a wedding. I was looking at it. I said, hey, these guys, young people. And then I think it was Sarkodie who came to sing.
Yeah.
Was it Sarkodie?
Yes.
Miss V came to sing. Sarkodie was around.
All of them, a lot of your friends.
Yeah.
So you do events for all these guys?
Yes. We basically help them, connect them to the brands. So they become friends.
But you are my children. And I'm a pastor. So how do you balance the movement, the success, Sack Nation, the Shatter movement, the Beam Nation, and still you lose your spirituality somewhere, or you are fine?
Oh, I think we are fine. What we try to understand is we manage them as brands.
Okay.
That's what we need to understand, that every brand has a starting point and they are going somewhere, what their brand story is, what their essence is, basically what do they stand for, and we basically help them get there. Connecting them to the brands is basically opening up the space as well, for these people, because usually what we've realized is the brands don't understand them, and they also don't understand the brands. So we are more like mediators, trying to get them to get to the same point to work together. And it's a whole thing. Influencer marketing is becoming one of the biggest platforms. You realize every brand now will basically want to work with an influencer because of their following and
That's
all
right.
that. So basically we manage these conversations, and we are friends also, so some of them, when you actually interact
They're
with
nice
them
people,
personally,
very
they are really nice people.
sweet souls.
Sweet
Good,
souls.
very, very good
very in
souls.
touch with their self, so it's been nice.
Wow. What are some of the people you've worked for, or brands or companies you worked for?
I think obviously Vodafone. We work. I mean, we set up in Liberia. So in Liberia, we work with MTN. We are like the agency that activates MTN in Liberia. And I think one of the things we talk about is the fact that, based on how you relate to anybody, when they leave where they are working, when they go to the next place they are going to work, they call you again and say, let's continue the conversation. So a brand like Access Bank, brands like Enterprise Insurance, GMPC, KFC,
a lot of their
everybody,
brands,
Unilever, Nestle Ghana, so it's like basically everybody. And I think because we have a niche in terms of what we offer, it's hard for you to talk to anybody else about these particular things that we do.
Wow. Well, viewers, there is something in the story in the Bible that always gets to me. It excites me. Although your beginning is small, your end shall greatly increase. I mean, if I look at their story, I think that scripture becomes a living scripture for me. It jumps to life. It started very small. Now they are working for the names they are mentioning. It's sending some shivers down my spine. I mean, they are working for big companies, but they started with nothing. Nothing. Let me say nothing. I mean, to leave your phone for a print means nothing. And that's the beginning. That's the storyline. That's how they started. If you are still using iPhone 11 Pro and crying for capital, you have a problem. If you are using Samsung Fold and you are saying that somebody should help you with 5,000, 10,000 to start your business, you don't need deliverance. You need another thing which we'll talk about later. But these are all stories that are supposed to empower you and embolden you to know that if you only commit to what you have in your heart, they have their certificates as civil engineers. They have not thrown them away. They are still hanging there. They have their diploma in oil and gas. They've done all of that, but they had another passion. It had no relation with what they did in school necessarily. Of course, engineering cuts across everything that is about human existence, but it had no direct bearing or relationship with it. And yet, when they veered into this, they stayed on course. There were challenges. They were backstabbed. They were undermined. Good friends, good people left them. Good people came. Good people moved on. Bad people came. Bad people moved on. And not only that, they have been stressed and they've gone through all of that. And yet, Echo House is still waxing stronger and stronger by the day. Because whatever is born of God cannot be killed prematurely. They are now in other nations. We believe that they are going to go into even more and more countries, even as time progresses. But there is something that if I don't ask, I know that posterity will not judge me right. How are you able to combine marriage and working together?
saw this one.
He doesn't want to, but he doesn't come back. Okay. But I think we have never not worked with each other. So that's a foundation.
You've always been working together.
Yeah. So sometimes people say to me, how do you work together? I'm like, how are you not working with the person you are, married to? So because what happens is, and I think for the two of us, I sort of know my space and he knows his space. Before he will speak, I usually will know what his opinion is.
Because you've been with him for a long time.
So I can tell. I kept telling him that sometimes, so Bry's supposed to be a hard guy and stuff like that. So what happens usually is that I keep on saying...
He's a hard guy. He's a hard guy.
He's supposed to be a hard guy. But I keep saying to him that he doesn't give himself enough credit for the person that he is in terms of how understanding and kind he is. He's a very committed person to, everything that he's doing. So if I'm not there, Bright can speak for me. If he's not there, But in terms of, I don't think we've achieved perfection yet. It's something we are still working at. So one or two times there are fights. So we'll have one or two.
Tensions are,
you disagree.
There are some frictions.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't jeopardize the harmony in the house and business. There is somebody, Yawa San. Wow, Bright Ayaba, my DHP from a disco. Bright will be a dining hall prefect. No doubt about it.
She was too.
I was also.
So both dining hall prefects met. So food found you. All right. Somebody. Oh no, that one I can't read. Pastor is guy. I love this man of God. He makes pastor life. No. Frank me pachopa. But that's nice. Frank, how are you doing? Good seeing you. Small beginning. That's from Fred Hein. Thanks, Fred. Great end. We have watching from Germany. I got a job with Echo House when I was in UG and got some money when I needed it the most. God bless the Echo House team. Oh, and if free, God bless you too. I'm happy. You see some of the impact you've made. When she needed money, you were there. Maybe if you had not been there, who knows? Beryl believed in a dream. She began the dream, and they have become the dream. Oh, I like that. Franco Fori said that. So you are the dream now. Very inspiring. God bless you. Papa, God bless you for this interview. That's from Miriam Miracles, Mahama. We were with him in a disco. He's always been a leader. Same class. 3S1. Okay. Elsie Holbrook said, very good information. Thank you for this broadcast. These dudes are destined for the top. The world should wait when they hit their peak. Hallelujah. St. Rose's girls are too proud of their... I'm so proud of you. So you went to St. Rose's. We have a lot of St. Rose's people in church, though.
Yeah.
Just join the show. Please want to know what they do. They are a 360 marketing company. So you should read about Echo House. They are everywhere. I'm so proud of you guys. Just joined the show. Okay, Pastor Kobe's church. This gentleman Senan is from Maryland. Pastor Kobe's church in Maryland. Echo House made me who I am today. Dope Kid. That's from Dope Kid, Nana Kojo. Kwame Che says, you people should kiss people and God bless you. All right. Okay. Or maybe she is trying to say is I kiss people goodbye. They are real inspiration to the upcoming generation. God bless you, Papa, for hosting them. I can foresee the future of Ghana. This is a generation... I'm reading and they won't let me read, so maybe let me just... That will change Ghana for the better. I like the couple taking a lot of clues. Maybe me and my wife, some time to come, will do same. All right. So if you are using iPhone 11 Pro and you are still crying for help, then you are your own problem. Yes, Beatrice, it's true. All right. And so those are signs. But from you as a man, your wife is also supposed to be out there, probably working, doing all of that. And you come home, you still need your wife as a wife. You don't need your wife as Echo House, you need your wife as a wife. Your kid will need your wife as the mother. Your wife will also need you as the husband.
Yeah.
And that's really what I want to know.
I think
What are the main challenges?
So
because there are young couples that will want to get into business together. They have to know. You have to tell the truth, the whole truth.
Sure. I think for us, we had an advantage, basically learning together all the way in school, for exam, so if she doesn't understand something, I teach her. If I don't understand, she teaches me and we learn, and then
I wasn't teaching him. He was the one who was teaching. I don't think I
right
He was being modest.
Yes.
He was being very modest.
So we've done this together for a very long time, and then one thing that along the line we've learned is understanding each other's point of view, because we also differ in some opinions. Sometimes we have arguments in the office and all that. What I've tried to be is to be very liberal at home, basically. So I don't expect her to come home at 8 p.m. We both come home and then she has to go and cook and do so much and do all that and stuff like that. As the baby came in, I tried to support as much. She's very surprised what I do. So
you started cooking?
No, basically every evening from
the person
the boy wakes up at 5 a.m.
So all that bride was waiting for was
boy,
the baby.
One little boy.
And it's changed his life, absolutely.
Because
he's up by 5 a.m.
5 a.m.
I carry him downstairs, keep him till she's able to wake up, because he's probably been breastfeeding through the night. So I carry him in the evenings also. He only sleeps here. So it's exciting for me, and we support each other in everything that we do. If we basically disagree on something, what we try to do is when we get home, we actually talk about it. The way he said this was quite not cool, the way he mentioned it in front of people. You could have actually done it this way, and then we talk about it. I try to manage my ego, how naturally men too can get some egoistic feelings and stuff like that. So I try to manage it in our space, and we're good, Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
And I think it's awesome working with your wife,
I believe that. But there are people too who, of course, it's good to work with your wife, but you should also, if you and your wife cannot work together, don't say that by force you are going to get into it.
Yeah.
Because you should also understand that the chemistry that you need to succeed as a brand, so as a workforce, a company, is a very different one.
Yeah.
You need to bond well. You need to understand the parameters of business. You need to understand that, okay, there are some things that are business related. It shouldn't affect our work.
Yeah.
And sometimes the problems of the workplace, when you are done, leave it there.
Yeah.
And come home and be a couple. If you don't understand that, you have issues. But I think it's a cool feeling to have.
In the chaos, like we mentioned, with all that can happen, I keep on saying to him that if it's nice to know that there's that one constant, like when the whole world is against you, at least there's this one person who you did, at least you did for me. Even sometimes, and it happens a lot, sometimes if I'm wrong, even in front of people, I'm right. And then, we go back and he says, you are actually wrong, don't do that again. And that's a very nice feeling. Yeah. Does that.
Bride does that.
Me too. Yeah.
So we'll support. So usually
So before people, bride is never wrong.
No.
And before people, burial is never wrong.
No.
But
it's
when
something
you
we've had
meet
to
in the
work
back
at.
door,
It's something we've had to work at. But
and it's helping now. Yeah. We'll be wrapping up and sharing with you some of the nuggets of wisdom, what has helped them, and how they will advise you as a young entrepreneur. And if you have any questions, throw them at me, and I'll definitely ask them for you. So we'll take a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and the Bible says he shall direct your path. If you really spend time with God, you will have a relationship with God, and that will help you, because you see, if you don't have time, if you don't have relationship with God, that will be the time that anybody at all can just throw anything at you, and you think that it makes theological sense. Because if you really know God, he said the Spirit of God shall guide you into all truth. In all your doings, make sure that your relationship with God is intact, because this too shall pass, and those that know their God will do exploit afterwards. David said, for in the time of trouble, God has the ability to hide us. That he hides me in his pavilion. God had never abandoned his people before. He won't start with us. He saved his people from plagues. When there was darkness in Egypt, there was light in Goshen. Sometimes, if you are not wise, when God brings people to help you, you will kill them. A lot of people have killed people that were brought to bless them, but because they were short-sighted and myopic, they could not evaluate the capacity of the people to think and ascertain that those people were coming to help them. They thought the people were their competitors. They were in competition with them, because most of the people that will come to compliment you will come stronger in many fields than you are, and if you are not careful, you think you are in competition with them. It takes maturity to appreciate the strengths of other people, to understand that destiny is complementary, to understand that people that will come around you are supposed to come to complement who you are. If everybody that comes around you is going to be beneath who you are going nowhere. If you are really going to radiate the glory and the presence of God, you get people who are bigger than you, who are better than you are, so that in their light you see light.
Welcome back. I believe that your life has been transformed or blessed, or you are getting energized by what God has placed in your heart and you want to do for your world and to affect your generation. I still have with me Mr. and Mrs. Ayaba, Bride and Burial, I call them. Amazing people. I'm surprised they didn't name it B&B House or BB House. But all the same, it's good. I want to ask them a very simple question, which I believe that everybody will want to know. Bride, you have been, of course, Bride and Burial. Let me not do a separation. What God has put together, let no man put it. So both of you you've done well. You've built a brand. It's a big brand now. I get to places and they talk about you, and I tell them they are mine. Bride is mine. It's my son. Burial is mine. When was the last time they came to church? When was the last time?
We come over.
No, you come. I don't see Bride, and I sometimes I'm like, okay, all right. Oh, but they are my son. I get very proud when people mention your name, but a lot of young people to start, and some of them want to take the rope. Some of them want to dive into the ocean. They want to end it because they feel they made the wrong choices. Why do you think you are young people, done business, you have 80 people on your payroll? It's exciting to know that, and more to come. If you are going to Liberia, going to Nigeria, going to Senegal, Kenya, all of that, you're going to employ more people. Why do you think young people don't succeed? Why do you think young people fail when they do business? And this is for all of you, both of you, so you can decide, you can mess them up.
I think one of the biggest things for me, as we're coming along, for the very first 2 years, we kept trying to do what we're doing until we met a Kenyan man who basically opened our eyes into what experiential was, the business model, how it works and stuff like that. what I've realized is a lot of people do not spend time to learn apprenticeship. Basically, they must learn. You must know the rules. You must know the way things work before you get into something. You could be doing the same thing someone else is doing and making millions of it whilst you make nothing. It's just basically the understanding of what the industry is. So I think it's a very key thing. I think there should be more of agencies that are available to basically train people on business modules and stuff like that. It's a very important thing. Otherwise, a lot of people enter things blindly, and with time, they just shrivel off. They can't sustain. That's one key thing, yeah.
I think one thing for me is, usually when people hear Echo House and they say young people, they think maybe we did it for 6 months and then, but we are talking 2008.
12 years.
Till now. And so sometimes I worry about someone, and especially because of social media, what happens is you start something today, if you get 1,000 followers, it means you've arrived. And then it's supposed to reflect in money and all these other things. One of my biggest challenges is the spirit of perseverance, and the ability to wait it out, because there's no substitute for it. No matter how
prayerful,
you have to wait it out. You have to wait for your what I should call it, your turn. Yeah. You have to do the work in the background, because sometimes you have to, you can have a social media handle, you get your 12K followers, and then it looks like, this is it. But there's so many half-baked professionals. Even at ECOWAS, people come, they do 1, 2, 3 things. You say, oh, great job. I'm an expert. I'm an expert of this, and then they're out there. But but you need to know what you will do when things are good. You need to know what you can do when this situation has happened, and you have to persevere and keep a team running, even though work is not coming and stuff like that. So, I think every young person needs to understand the weight. The weight of maybe doing the work in the background. I keep telling people behave as if we started yesterday and then we, came up. But no, we've done, years and years in the back where nobody knew that we existed, and then, when it was the right time, things, worked out. So, yeah.
12 years of waiting, 12 years of evolving, 12 years growing a brand. I mean, I'm also learning, learning from your story. It gives me, my mind has been going through scripture, and it just tells me in the book of Isaiah, when the Bible says that they that wait on the Lord, they shall renew their strength. Waiting is a very difficult thing, especially for this generation, where everything is instant.
Yes.
You get a series.
Yes.
24 episodes at once.
At once. You download and you are fine.
You binge.
Yeah. So, Bright keeps talking to me about this whole thing where usually somebody joins us, maybe they're doing national service, they work 1 year and they're saying, I'm still struggling to find my, I feel like I'm not making enough impact. Or, so I'm like,
I'm going to ask you some questions. I think they shouldn't scroll. What was one thing that happened in your journey which made you almost give up? What was the breaking point? Was there a point like that?
Several points. There's something she would want me not to say.
Don't say it. I don't want a problem.
I will leave a bit of it out.
Please. Yes. Don't touch it. The women are always right. If a man wants to live long and live happy, never argue with your wife in public. Yeah. If you want to live long and live happy, you should, under no circumstance.
No, it's fine.
No, don't say
it's
fine. So say something else.
I think a lot of disappointment comes along the line, so there was a point you had a brand commit to something. Basically, you had planned 3 months towards it, and it was everything you were waiting for, and suddenly they call you because of certain reasons. It can no longer happen. And it basically breaks you down. You've already invested monies and stuff like that.
We're on the Kumasi, a road from Accra to Kumasi, and then they just called, said, well, we can't do it anymore. We're sorry, and I just broke down completely. And when things like that happen, you feel like,
is this really it?
You can't do.
So you can,
and you always have a degree to fall back on. There's something knocking at the back of your head. You can just go get a job. It keeps happening like that.
Just before this situation,
COVID.
Bright had spent 2 weeks consecutively in Nigeria, and that kind of thing where some of the things which maybe we were able to get to sign off in Ghana, you do so much work, but in 2 trips, we had gotten this really big bank to sign something off, and when they sent the email and said, this is approved, let's go. And so that for us was the kickoff for Nigeria. We had talked about who was going to go to Nigeria, we're looking at property and everything. And all that. And then this came, and, it just seemed like, but we are in, our leg is in Nigeria, Wow. So it is not a one thing, usually, sometimes even for me, when somebody I really, really believe in or somebody I'm very close to leaves, I can actually say to Bright, I can't do this anymore. Can
you just open a restaurant?
I say I want to open
You wanted to leave the house?
Yeah, I want to open a restaurant that people can only eat in groups and they can't eat one, and so that we drive
place.
Solidarity. So that's my idea of a happy, but there are so many of them. It's not just one.
So, Jude, that was the answer they gave. It's not just one. I think you can still do the restaurant, create a happy place, because it can also be another stream of income, which I promote that maybe in the future. But again, it tells you that it is always when you want to or pursue what God has asked you to do, that's when the tides will be against you. So when you face the winds of adversity, don't give up. They had several instances where they could have just thrown in the towel and said, you know what, let me follow my engineering certificate and just go and be the civil engineer and calculate iron rods and steel and get the roads and all those things done. Do bridges and we need bridges.
Structures
do structures and get all those things done. but perseverance is key. Beryl mentioned perseverance. Bride has mentioned learning. They've all spoken about it. So wait. The fact that you have a vision doesn't mean it's going to blossom overnight. Actually, if you have a baby today and tomorrow you come and your baby is writing,
problem day,
you will run away from the house. Because immediately the first thing that will come into your mind is, no, this boy or this baby is possessed. Or you have a baby today, and when you came back home tomorrow, a day-old baby has picked the keys of your car and is trying to drive. You call for ghostbusters and pastors, and you do all kinds of things. And I believe that we should understand that everything divine takes time to mature. If you want things done instantly, you'll get your hands into things that you won't even know what is going to come at you in the latter days. But so what would be your advice to people that are watching us? You must learn the rules of the game. Bless you, Bright. As Sanyao said, you must learn the rules of the game. Samuel Into is saying apprenticeship is key. Yes, I mean, you can never be a master if you don't understudy. And that is a problem of this generation. Waiting is a necessity for growth. That's from Elsie Holdbrook. I don't know if we can read more of the comments. I wish to see Papa and Mommy on the show pretty soon. I admire today's guest and their work very much, and I'm enjoying today's program very much. First time seeing the amazing people behind the cool peeps. Okay, that's Terry the Macho Man. I have perseverance is key. Such interesting program. God bless. We have quite a few. I've read this. If you want me to read it again, I don't know what's wrong with people, but everything divine takes time to mature. Yeah, everything takes time to mature. Everything. Even love is brewed, they said, in the African pot. But brewery always takes time. You don't just brew something overnight. Pastor, you will be proud to know that Bright and your beloved son, Daniel Welly Nyamekye, were mates in a disco, and he can attest to how sharp he was in the science class, and even as a prefect back in a disco 2001, Up Santa. That's John K. Wapi is my kid brother. He comes to after me anyway. So these are all my kid brother and sister. Yeah, but they are my sons and daughters as well. I have a lot of them who are doing well, but I'm super glad that I have them here today. What would be your advice to the youth, people who want to start business, who want to do business? Because the program I want to inspire people to know it's possible. I want Africans to know it can be done. I want the youth to know that you don't need to do sakawa to get money.
Is it real?
No, I've said it on this show before that, you know, as a person, I've never believed in Sikedro. I've never believed in it. I'm told it's there. I've never believed it, because if there is Sikedro, then there should be somebody with proofs so and so you hear Dro. Because there are always two sides to a coin. So Sikedro or here, I want to see. So I believe that what will make somebody excel, it's not, there are no quick cuts, no shortcuts, no quick fixes. The Bible says, go to the ant, consider its ways and be wise, because of the principles that the ant operates with. The ant believes in industry, believes in savings, believes in perseverance. You stop the ant one way, the ant will look for another way to get around it. That's what the ant does. So nothing should stop you. If I believe, and Bride and Burial, my earnest prayer and hope is that a generation will rise in Africa who will be entrepreneurially driven. If China says they want to make 20% of their population multi-millionaires, and if you are saying that China is even 1 billion people, and 10% is 100 million, then 20% you are looking at 200 million people. So 200 million people becoming multi-millionaires in one country. And you are here and you are thinking, Sakawa, scam a brony be, so that the Obroni will bring you $1,000 or $10,000, whatever you are thinking. I believe that the African story must be rewritten and retold. We have to redefine the history. We have to, and I believe that it is our collective responsibility as the next generation to show the way and help others know how it can be done, so that you don't also sit on your laurels and think that things are going to happen. They have to push their ways up and push their ways through. But I want them to share with you what they did and the lessons, or what they want you to learn, their advice, about three from them, 3 key pointers from them, together or separately, whatever they would do. They are a couple, and so they can sort it amongst themselves. But what would be your advice to people that are listening to us now?
I think there's a thing around delayed gratification, basically, where you don't assume you are rich and then start spending the money you are working with and then buying the best cars you are with the money you're working with. You need to understand that you get paid and that's it. You know, a lot of people find it strange when they think maybe I have $1 million in my personal account. I don't. I get my salary at the end of the month, and that's what I live on. You know, so I think a lot of people need to understand that the money you're working with is not money for you to spend. That's what usually happens along the line. You know, someone comes to ask you, I need 100,000. You dish from the business, you give it out. You know, so gradually it gets to a point you can no longer move on. So those are some of the things I think people should learn. I also think it's not just for even entrepreneurs. Not everybody must be an entrepreneur. I mean, people need to also work there. People who are excelling in corporate spaces and stuff like that. I think young people need to put in more effort, need to, you know, dedicate themselves more. You know, you working for somebody doesn't mean that it's not your father's business, so you don't give it your best. It's through that you actually get to own your own thing, or get to be able to do your own thing, or get to rise in the same building that you are working in to the top and manage the thing for the person. So people need to be a bit more, you know, concerned and dedicated to whatever they are doing. If it's working in a corporate entity, working for an entrepreneur, working in a small business, wherever you are, you need to excel. You know, you find a lot of people are laid back, you know, when you are working for people. But the problem is the same attitude you had in that space is what you actually take into the entrepreneurship, and it doesn't work.
You reap what you sow.
You reap what you sow, basically. So you need to give it your all. You know, don't lay back, you know, keep pushing wherever you find yourself. Is in the corporate space, entrepreneurship. If you are not pushing, it's not going, it's not working. You know, so I think those are 2 key things I want to leave with people. You know, learning how to, you know, delay your gratification. You know, don't go buy the mansion you can't actually maintain. You know, take your time and do that. Then also giving your all to whatever you are doing. People must ask you, yeah, the company and your papa Diana. You know, if people don't ask you that, you're actually not doing the best. You know, so I think those are the key things I'll share with people.
Okay, I think for me, I mean, the main thing is loving people. And I say this because, you know, when you're working with people, a lot of times what you decide to do is also based on basically your frame of mind and how you feel about the people that you work with. One of my biggest challenges as a leader has always been, in spite of all the things that people will do wrong to you, how do you wake up every morning and say, I love you guys regardless, and I will make sure that I help you to grow. Wow. And that for me is everything. Making sure that you are bringing people and you're training them, you're helping them to grow. No matter how it ends, there should always be the conversation that because of you, I am better. And people must be able to go out and be better, for being with you. I think the second thing for me is the conversation that everything is possible. And I mean, especially when you're in Africa, it's very easy to be surrounded by so much dysfunction that you begin to feel like, let me not even bother, and stuff like that. And when you hear the stories of people who have grown things, you realize that they were not in a different world. They also had challenges where they were, and they still managed to make, things work. And I think the last thing is to stay grounded, so that you never forget where you come from. Sometimes we can be in a conversation. I mean, they keep saying to me that I will come and remind them, sometimes there's something we want to, somebody has done something really terrible, a brand has completely broken us down or something, and then, it begins to feel like, let's do something to hurt them. And I'm like, you don't know the reason why the things we do work, Somebody sent to me this picture of something that another team had done that had gone wrong and stuff, and said, Beryl, why do you think this never happens to us? And I said, because we must always have a good heart. We must always have clean hearts. So it's very important. Whether people believe you do or not is another conversation, because again, that's, opinion. Right. But you must always be grounded. Always remember where you're coming from, and never get, put yourself so high that you forget that, wow, you're coming from somewhere. Yeah.
Wow. David in scripture had a room, and in that room David hanged the garment or the robe that he used when he was a shepherd boy, and he hanged it. So whenever people come around and they praise him and they adulate him, he goes to the room, sits on the floor, looks at the robe and asks himself, who am I and what is my house that you've brought me this far? Mm-hmm. In ancient mythology, do you read mythologies of
yeah, we come across some of it
sometimes. All right, so in one of the mythologies you have Marcus Aurelius, okay, of Rome, who was an emperor of Rome, and he was, when Rome had conquered the whole world, and he was the leader, of course, the emperor, he always had somebody by him. The person was paid to only say one thing to him: you are only a man. Mm-hmm. You are only a man. So when Marcus Aurelius is going anywhere and people are, hail the emperor, mm-hmm, they are shouting all the appellations and doing that, he's just there. His work is not to fetch water or to get him food. His work was to remind him, you are only a man. You are only a man. So it doesn't get into your head. I think that is a very strong point, Beryl, you've raised. Because people get to a point where they think they are demigods. Mm. And they feel that all is done. But today, we are also going to allow you to also call in. Those of you who want to call in, we are going to allow you to call in. Just share with us what exactly you want to ask them or what you want to say to them. Some of you are from school, you want to encourage them. That's beautiful. You can call. Yes, I believe in that too, partnership, franchising. That is the reason why America is still America. Yes, I believe that teachers should start teaching that in our elementary schools, throughout the university. Kudos. Lionel Gabriel Osujo is saying that the African story must be rewritten. I strongly agree, Papa. That's our son. Doctor, I think there is shortcuts in Sikadro, but I think no. I want to read that. Why are you scrolling me out of it? Okay, I think there's shortcuts in Sikadro, but I think the end result is not good for those avenues. But hard work and long jeopardy and is the best way to go if you want your work to stand and last from generation to generation, leaving inheritance to your children's children. Yes, I think it is there. We are not saying it's not there. I don't believe it as a person, and so it can be there because you. Okay, maybe they don't want us to read. I salute you. Keep the fire burning. We have been touched. God bless you so much. Keep educating us. Yeah, that's what we have. And so The phone lines are activated. You can call. You can as well send us questions if you want to ask anything, and we will read the questions that you send to us. But the phone lines are 050-163-2610. Those of you that are calling in Ghana or calling from anywhere in Ghana, you can call on 050-163-2610. If you're calling outside Ghana, you can do +233-501-632-610. Again, +233-501-632-610. And we'll pick up on that. But one thing too is also a problem when it comes to. I'll also allow you to ask me something.
Sure.
But we have Oseo from Osu. Oseo.
Good evening.
Oseo, good evening. How are you doing? Is it Oseo from the Maker's House?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I just say. How are you doing?
Very well.
That's also a son of mine who is an entrepreneur.
Yes, sir.
Osei is gone? We lost the line. Okay. There is one thing too that I normally I will ask you to ask me a question that you want me to answer. But one thing too is sure for anything that I've heard about business, and mostly why people don't really commit. And I've seen that with African businesses. We don't have clear path for growth. You see, in America, in Europe, you can start from the floor and end up as a CEO because there's a clear path. Yeah. Dedication will get you to become, say, a partner of a business. And so most of the time too, in as much as we want people to be grounded in that regard, we should also communicate, you know what, we are expanding. We are going to appoint leaders in nations. We are appointing leaders and COOs in nations, and so that it becomes, EcoHouse becomes, say, a group. But if you are working and committing, you have a path. You can rise to become a country manager. You can rise to become a country chief operation officer. We have Jade from Westlands. Good evening. Can you turn down the volume?
I don't think the person can.
Good evening.
Hello. Can you turn down the volume on your set?
Yes, please, I have.
Yes, because we were having feedback. So, okay, so good evening. Welcome to Wednesday.
Hello?
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Wednesday.
Please, I don't have a question. I just want to say that I really love the Echo people, and then I really love Mr. and Mrs. Ayaba, and they should keep the good work up because we are right behind them.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
They are rooting for you. So you see why you can't fail a generation. You can't fail us. You can't throw in the towel. No breaks. Thanks for calling. You have to keep shining because people are really counting on you. A whole generation. You feel burdened?
All the time. Yeah.
All the time. Yeah. And so, you can call. Again, the numbers are 050-163-2610, or you can do +233-501-632-610. And if you want to say anything, I'll say out from Usu. I just say, welcome back.
Hello?
I just say, welcome back.
Thank you, Papa.
I just said, lower the volume on your set, and so that you can hear us. Okay, thank you. So talk to us.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that, right, this was 6 years. We've been working with EcoHouse for some time now, and as a young man in the same entrepreneurial field, what I want to say is that I really admire them, and I want to wish them very well. I mean, I'm so proud of them and happy to be working with them.
Awesome. Awesome. People are rooting for you. Your work ethics are phenomenal. People are saying that, and then we are proud of you. That's what we want. We don't want off air. I was telling you, I don't believe that Christians are supposed to be. I can't say that on But truth be told, if you are saying that you have God as your father and you have the light residing in you, you cannot be ignorant. You cannot fail. You cannot. Yeah. You have to be smart. God even worked. God was a hard worker. That God only rested once in a week. So you cannot say you won't work. So I don't believe in the fact that, say, somebody is a Christian and say, you know what, I'm just praying and manna is going to fall. Manna,
doesn't exist.
Sammy from Adenta. Sammy, welcome.
Good evening, Doc. Thank you. Thank you so much for actually giving us the opportunity to learn and get started. Because once we see the youth of today trying to do something which is creating impact to Africa and the world, it is of great excitement to we the youth. It tells us we can do anything we set our hearts to do, and it takes time and process. And I would like to encourage our brothers and sisters out there that it doesn't matter if your business is not working now. Just believe in God, trust the process, and they would come. And one thing I've also realized in life is everything you want to do, it doesn't matter the number of people doing it. Once God has given you that idea, you have a unique identity that differentiates you from all. So I'd like to thank Echo House. I'm actually in the event myself, but I specialize in the logistics aspect. And when I listen to the stories of these people, I get excited. And it doesn't matter the storm that comes my way. Looking up to these ones, we'll also get there someday. Amen. Thank you so much, Doc. You have a good evening.
Amen, Sammy. Good evening. So, are you guys spiritual at all? I know you come to the Makers, but I was going to ask that. Yeah. I mean, that's also very important to me because I believe there is, of course, your spirituality should be there. You should be sound. But let me ask. I know both of you. Yeah. So even if you lie, I can tell. I know both of you.
I think for when you do business for a while, you realize there's actually something backing you. It's not just you. I mean, a lot of times we are in a space where people have to decide between us and others. And it's not like you're the overall best in the world, but it comes to you, which I know comes from a higher power. It's not just as for the sake of interview, we have to see the dedication and the things that we do, but that's we know very well there's something that's backing us, and it's not just as and it's God.
There's some grace.
There's grace
backing your sail,
and that's what you keep praying for. I keep telling Beryl that everybody has a period, to basically make it when the grace is totally on them. I even say it for musicians. Every musician, you don't know what happens. You just basically get a grace and you keep shining. How you use it is up to you. If you don't use it well, it goes. So we try as much as possible to, follow the principles of
that
God.
That is bride's rendition of grace.
Yes.
Yep.
The grace that comes and goes.
Yeah. No, I mean, it comes on you and how you use it. So basically, I think that's how it is.
No, I understand. You are not a theologian, so whatever you explain it is fine.
So we always pray to God in everything that we do. Even before we do events and stuff like that, we form a whole big circle of about 80 people around the place we are going to do the activation, and we pray before we begin. So we think spirituality is very key in everything we do.
So Echo House prays. Don't think that Echo House is only about activation. They are a praying company. A praying company becomes a leading company. If you pray, you lead. If you pray, you shine. If you pray, you excel. I want to thank you for gracing our platform with your presence to talk about your coupling stuff and your business. I believe that it's inspired people. And all that we pray and believe is that you are going to shine. This is just the beginning. I mean, this is just the beginning. There are greater heights that you're going to get to. And we know, knowing both of you and knowing who you are, I know that you will never abandon your faith. You keep shining, and the grace of God won't depart.
Yes.
It will keep staying.
Amen.
All right. So thank you for watching us today. I was going to allow them to ask a question, but I think... what?
We want to ask.
You want to ask? What do you want to ask?
What is your biggest challenge?
Myself?
Yes.
My biggest challenge, burial. biggest.
Yeah.
Actually, my biggest challenge is being able to switch from the many things that I do without affecting any of them. Because if you get around me closely, you'll find out that I'm a very intense person, but I live in blocks. So when I come to church, I'm a church guy.
Okay.
I'm preaching. When I get on the football field, I tackle. I get kicks. I kick back. What I mean is that that switch from being a pastor to a married man to a business person, and I go to class and I have to teach by the book. So those, I would say, will be my biggest challenge. The human part is not a challenge because you can always build blocks around you. You see, I keep telling people, when people are making noise around, you can decide to get earplugs. So that is not a problem. But mine will be being able to switch, not combine them, because you have to live in moments. So how I get to church, and if I was having a problem with a business, I know the person coming to church is not there to listen to my problems in my business.
Yeah.
So how I put that under lock and begin to preach as if everything is all right, because the person did not drive many miles to come and listen to my problems.
Yeah.
Then when I am done and I'm handling a business deal, sitting down, going through a document, I don't go through it as a prophet. I go through it as somebody who needs to sign a document that will be legally binding. You get my point. So how to live in all those blocks? I would say those are the challenges that I have. But quite apart from that, I think, do you also have something to ask?
Good.
Hallelujah. I'm happy, I'm excited. But thank you for watching us today. We are super excited that you came. We'll be coming your way same time next week with another edition of Wednesday. We believe that these things are not just things to do with your time, but they are things that are going to help you, propel you into greatness. We believe that you take territories. We believe that you fulfill destiny. But we also believe that these are tools that will be the enabling ingredients to get you to where God wants you to be. God bless and keep you, and may his face shine upon you. See you same time next week. God bless. When God elevates you, you have to put your feet on the ground, because people will give you an exaggerated picture of yourself. People will blow you out of proportion. Don't take everything people say about you hook, line, and sinker. When they are telling you are the greatest preacher, you are the greatest man, you are the greatest politician, you are very eloquent, you are saying all those kind of things. Don't let it get into your head, because it is not everything people say. Truism and factuality are two different things. Something can be factual, might not be the truth. Depending on the angle of the light, a shadow can appear bigger than the body. So when they are throwing some light on you, do not be deceived, because the angle is giving an exaggerated figure of yourself. But anytime light is thrown on you, there are two things too that will happen. Light does not only bring you to prominence, but light also produces heat. And so when you are going to get on the tables of glory, there is going to be heat all around you, and most of you are going through heat right now, but it's because God has shown his light on you. I pray that may God lift somebody up. May the light of God shine on you.